Welcome to another show in a hot seat. And like I always say, don't get scared by the name. It's just, we just want to put you on the spot, but in a good spot. This show is about letting people know more into our guests. We bring the guests, people, familiar faces on our community, but people don't know details about their lives, what they like, what they don't like. And that's what we're gonna find out about our guests. And my guest today, it's a long-time friend, even way before she was a state representative. I had the pleasure to meet Carole and work with Carole. Our guest today is Carole Fiola. Thank you, Carole, for accepting my invitation to be on the hot seat.
Thank you. It's not too hot, but I'm glad to be here, Carlos. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
Thank you, Carole. And like I was saying before, she was into politics. She was a manager for WSAR. That's when I met Carole a long time ago. Our kids were so small, and now they are so grown up and so independent, doing their own lives, and that's how life changes so much. But what we're going to do today, I mean, professionally, we know Carole Fiola. Professionally, we know that she's a state representative. What we're going to know today is what people don't know of Carole Fiola, and probably we're going to keep some secrets out that nobody knows about Carole Fiola.
And I don't know the question, so it's going to be fun.
Carole, the first thing that I want to ask you is, we always know you by Carole Fiola. Any nicknames that people don't know?
No, I mean, my maiden name, you know, maybe people don't know that. My maiden name was Weglowski. So my father was Polish and my mother was French. She was a Sorel, so Weglowski. So my brother, I have a brother and a sister, and maybe you'll ask about that, but my older brother, he went by the nickname Wig. Okay. So sometimes I would be called Little Wig because Weglowski, you know, Little Wig was a lot easier than Weglowski. So,
and going back a few years, a lot of people had nicknames to substitute the names. Sometimes the names were so hard to call it that they better off going with nicknames. And
I think Carole was pretty easy. Carole's an easy name. Yeah. But going back, when I talk to my husband Ken, of course, and about his father, who used to hang around the Flint. He used to hang around in Shay's restaurant, which is currently the Flint Village restaurant, which I do some coffee and conversations at. And back then, they would have names. Sometimes they sounded disparaging even, you know. It might be related to their nationality or their culture, but they would nickname people these crazy names. And I'd hear about it. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they used that name, but it was commonplace way back then. But I was Carole, maybe Little Wig, because of my brother when we were in high school, and he was a little ahead of me. But other than that, I really didn't have any nicknames.
I know you're a pets lover. So if you have to pick between dogs and cats, what you would pick? Absolutely
a dog lover.
And you have one?
I had cats and I've had dogs, and so I have actually my third dog right now. We had a dog before we had children, a beautiful golden retriever called Shammy. Shammy passed away when the girls were small. That was very devastating to them. And I believe on my daughter's 9th birthday, my youngest's 9th birthday, I'd gone to Forever Paws and looked in the eyes of this Portuguese hunting dog, not a Portuguese water dog, the big fluffy black ones, but those streamlined Portuguese hunting dog. And she had these beautiful eyes, and I looked at her, she was almost malnourished. She was so, because she had been found, as you typically find them, hunting and running in the woods. They found her. I looked at her, I said, my daughter's gonna love her. So Penny came home with us, and we had Penny for about 8 years. And the funniest thing about her was, A Portuguese hunting dog just wants to hunt. They're not like a golden retriever where you could let them out while you put out the trash and they'd stay right with you.
Yeah.
A Portuguese hunting dog, given this much space, will go and just go towards squirrels and rabbits. So we have a lot of funny coffee and cocktail stories about Penny escaping and where she would end up. So that was my second dog. And my third dog, Penny passed away, and Ken and I, as you know, like many couples, have busy lives. The girls were grown, and we said, okay, we can't take on another animal. We cannot take on another pet. We lock the door, go, and sometimes we go overnight somewhere, or I travel sometimes to Boston. I'm overnight. My daughter was in college, moved to Boston after college for a year, got herself a puppy. Well, decided she wanted to move back home, as they do when they're, we all know that, right? Moved back home and said, but by the way, I'm bringing the puppy home. She brought home a 5-month-old pit bull puppy. I didn't want another dog, never mind a pit bull. Well, let me tell you, Carlos, Brooklyn, and if people follow me on social media, they've seen Brooklyn. Brooklyn, of course, you end up loving these animals. They're your family members, and Brooklyn is now 3. And Brooklyn lives with us because, of course, she went on, and she has a busy job, so whatever she's been doing. I have 2. Yeah, I'm the grandmom, but really I'm the mom now. I refer to myself as mom, but Brooklyn is 75 pounds. He's beautiful, but he dispels any of those rumors about pit bulls. Gentle, kind, sweet, and so I have to say I'm a dog person.
Dog lover. Music. What Carole likes for music? What style?
Yeah. Well, I grew up, here's a little something people don't know. I grew up with a brother, as I said, that was 3 years older than me. And he was a rock and roll guy. Led Zeppelin, you know, Eric Clapton, the Stones, the Beatles, of course. But he was an air guitar player. So if you know, he'd shut me in his room, he'd blast the music, and he would play air guitar. Now, you guys don't know my brother, so I don't mind telling you this. So I would sit there. So I ended up with a love of rock and roll. So I love the Stones. You know, I love the Eagles. I love all the old rock bands. I love some country, a little bit. I still haven't been fully converted to country because to me, a lot of the songs sound alike. Of course, my daughters grew up with rap music, their age groups. There was a lot of rap. So I like songs of different genres. You know, I love some Frank Sinatra. You know, when I hear Summer Wind in the summer, I just like put that up loud and love it. But when I hear
a lot of snow on the snow.
And a lot of snow. But when I hear the Stones, I have to tell you, they probably are my all-time rock and roll band. I've gotten to see them in concert, and I don't know if now is the right time, but a little story that most people don't know, that when I was in college, I had an opportunity. They were touring the country, and for their tour, they leased out a farm in North Brookfield, Massachusetts, a big farm to rehearse. A couple of weeks, I don't know how long before. Now, I was a UMass Amherst student. I was a fan of the Rolling Stones. We heard that they were rehearsing in North Brookfield at this farm, Longview Farms. Very long story. Again, another coffee and cocktail conversation. But I ended up getting flown from the airport in Northampton, Massachusetts, which is right next door to Amherst, where UMass was, to the airport in Worcester to go to North Brookfield, and I was invited in to spend like 20 hours, 24 hours to watch them rehearse and to be like a fan that had an up-close view. It was put in the Boston Globe, and that was way back when in college. So it was a very fast-occurring situation, but imagine that, being a fan of the Rolling Stones and getting that up-close view. That was really remarkable and fun.
Movies. What's your best movie?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I don't get an awful lot of time to watch a movie. I'll watch now some Netflix shows, from House of Cards to the Ozarks to The Crown, all these documentaries and miniseries, Game of Thrones, some really, from The Crown to Game of Thrones, crazy difference, but because you can watch them when you want. But I have to tell you, I'm going to tell you my 2 all-time favorite movies. And they go right back to my childhood. I've probably watched both of them 100 times at least, and that is The Wizard of Oz and The Sound of Music. And that may sound corny because my husband loves The Godfather 1, Godfather 3, or whatever, but those movies, and I shared them with our daughters because they were beautiful stories. The music was fabulous. They were once-a-year movies, so all year I remember watching. It's coming in March, The Wizard of Oz. You couldn't go on demand, right? So I would so look forward to watching those movies. And when my daughters were small, of course, we got the VHS tape at the time. You know, it wasn't DVDs, and now it's on demand. But those would probably be my all-time favorite movies.
If and still talking about movies, if I had to do a movie of your life, what the title that you would put on?
Wow.
Tough question.
It's a tough question because, you know, you could say anything, but, you know, I've just kept moving forward always. And I don't mean forward, successful forward, but I think every day you've got to get up. And I've never had a 5-year plan. I just kind of look at where I'm at a point, any given period of time, and just work it the best I possibly can and work the hardest at it. And that came from my parents. So I guess I would say, work hard, move forward. You know, work hard, move forward.
So that's pretty much how you identify your life.
I do, and of course I use the word positive in there because there's so much we can be negative about, so much. But I try to learn from people who have issues or concerns, and I go, how can I possibly be not positive when I see people who are living a positive life in spite of whatever their concerns.
That would be a good movie. That would be a good movie. Breakfast.
Oh.
Are you more into the international breakfast or more like a Portuguese breakfast with you know, bread and cheese and
bread and cheese. Well, I love bread and cheese, but of course, if you eat too much bread and cheese, you know, it's not too good for you. But I love it. I'll go to Barcelo's. It depends on the day. My breakfast changes every morning. I probably have about 5 different breakfasts that I kind of shuffle through. So I'll do an egg with some, I saute spinach. I'm kind of a healthy eater, sorry. But not exclusively. I mean, breakfast I love. It really does start my day off. I do not ever miss breakfast. Egg with some spinach and maybe a piece of Canadian bacon, or I'll have a bowl of cereal with a little bit of banana and some blueberries, or I'll have some oatmeal with a little bit of blueberries. So that's another one. Another one would be a piece of toast with peanut butter and a little bit of banana. So that's my 4th one. What's my 5th one? The 5th one would be like a scrambled egg with vegetables in it, maybe a tiny bit of provolone cheese. You're really asking me these things. I'm giving you all my scoop here. And a cup of black coffee, though. A cup of black coffee.
Black coffee. It's good because if you're planning to invite Carole for breakfast, you already know what she eats. You can pre-order.
but on a Sunday after Mass, we go to 8:30 Mass at Holy Name. That's our typical Mass, unless we go somewhere else for a different reason. Sometimes we'll go to Barcelo's or the Java House after. But when I go to Barcelo's, I have to tell you, for breakfast, my favorite is the a veau bread.
Yes.
With the cheese, St. George cheese, and a piece of red pepper. Unbelievable.
You had invited me once for that breakfast, so I have to say that was a good one.
It's delicious.
Color.
Yeah.
Which Carole's color?
I have to tell you, I don't have a favorite color. I know that sounds odd, but some days I like red. Some days I like orange. Some days I like green. You know,
so you look outside to see how's the weather?
Yeah, what's my mood for that day? And then I kind of think, what do I like? You know, those are some of my favorite colors, probably red and orange and green. Of course, blues, different type of blues, turquoise blue. But
So you're using two of your favorite colors today.
today, blue
Well,
and
I guess it's going to rain today.
it just started on our way in, you know. But,
Afraid. Are you afraid of anything?
so probably if I had to answer, what am I afraid of? I don't like snakes, so keep the snakes away. I don't like snakes. They just, something about them I have a fear of snakes.
Yeah.
And while I have flown probably 100,000 miles, I've flown to Germany, to Portugal, to Israel, to the Caribbean, to Florida. I'm very blessed. I think travel is such an important part of someone's life if you can do it or save for it. It's really enriching. So I have flown, you know, but I hate it. I do it because I won't stop doing what I think is important just because I might be afraid of it, but I hate it. And it started probably when I flew a lot younger, like, you know, my 20s, and then about 30, my early 30s, I was pregnant for my youngest daughter, and we were in a torrential thunderstorm in the Caribbean in a small plane. I was 7 months pregnant. Why I was there, that's stupid. But I was 7 months pregnant. My other daughter was home. She was a baby. I was so terrified. I thought I was going to die, absolutely, unequivocally, that from that point until now, it's just frightened me. But I don't stop because
Which is good.
I'd miss out on so many beautiful places.
I know you very successful at your job, but it is a job that Carole would like to have that probably is not going to happen.
Is there a job? You know what? I love the job I'm doing. When I was general manager and vice president at WSAR, I loved that job. And I didn't look ahead or never thought what else would I be doing. But I think one of the things I try to tell young people is kind of do your best at the job you're doing. And if you are looking ahead, that's the best indicator of someone hiring you for the next job, because they'll see what you're doing and you'll have results and you'll have, you know, a good work history. But I don't look ahead to another job. I think when you're in politics, okay, and that's probably what you're sort of referring to, Carlos, you know, when I first started on the Governor's Council, I had no indication ever of running. It just, somebody talked about it one day, I looked at it, and I said, yeah, I can do that, and I'm ready for that. But, and the same thing with the state rep. And now I feel it's the right fit, the relationships I'm building, what I'm able to bring to Fall River, and help for Fall River and Freetown in my district. But I don't look ahead. Everybody else does that for you. So as soon as you are an elected official, and you can ask everyone who's been an elected official or been in the spotlight in Fall River, and people are always saying, what are you going to do next? You're going to run for this. You're going to run for that. And I have to tell you, I've never plotted or planned. It's always the other people out there that have started either rumors or, you know, forced me to say, wait a minute, is that something I should be doing?
Exactly.
And up until this point, I have to tell you, as I sit here today, I just, you know, I'm up for re-election. I love this job. I want to continue. And that's what I'm thinking about. That's truly what I'm thinking about. You know, and every day it presents so many learning experiences. I was able this morning, before I came here, I got a Facebook message, which are private, from someone I've been trying to help with their son who's disabled very severely, and something with his insurance, and we've been working on that, and it's been successful. And how rewarding is that when, because of my position and my willingness, because people can be in a position but not be willing to take all the steps needed to help someone. But for myself and my office, for us to take those steps to help someone, that is the most rewarding. That is so rewarding. So I love it.
Name, Carole Fiola, is another name that you like to
go by?
To go by?
No, representative. When I'm in Boston, they call me representative, but truly, it's Carole. Everyone calls me Carole. I don't think, I mean, I hope everyone does. I don't know.
A very interesting question here that I get different answers from our guests is, would you rather be rich and ugly or poor and good looking?
Wow. Rich and ugly and poor and good looking. So you've only given me those choices, so I have to go with those.
Yes.
So I'm going to say poorer and good looking. You know, sadly, and I don't mean good looking like, oh, isn't she pretty or isn't she, but just, I think the image someone has of themselves, and some people can help their image, some people can't. You know, we look at people who, you know, people say, oh, you're thin, you look good, but you can be very heavy and look good.
Yes.
So I think it's about carrying yourself, and if you have a good self-image of yourself, and it doesn't have to be just thin, but when you say ugly, I mean, that can mean so many things to people. Ugly meaning their personality is ugly too. So good looking, I take that as positive as well, not just good looking like, oh, she, you know, looks pretty or nice or whatever. I just think if you can carry an image of yourself that you put forth positive every day, that is called good looking. And if you are carrying a positive message forward, people want to either work with you, they'll like you, and so they'll be open to what you have to say. And so, you know, I use this example when I speak to young people. I took a class, you know, we've all taken different self-help classes or read different books through our years. Very important to hear other people's perspectives on, you know, on your life's journey. And one of them was by the Tony Robbins, a very world famous inspirational author. And he uses this vivid picture that is so important. If you are on the other side of a door and someone knocks on that door and I tell you that they look like they're positive and successful, are they looking like this? Woe is me, I'm negative, or are they looking like confident? And you can be carrying all the problems in the world, which we all have some. No family, no individual, no one is exempt. But if you carry yourself with a sense of confidence, and that's what I call good looking, and not by visual look.
And it's a good question because the guest takes the question and takes the question, you know, changes, complete the question.
So is it a different answer than others have given too?
Yes. Yeah. You rather lose your phone or your wallet?
My phone is my wallet. If you see, that's what I carry. So I'd rather lose my wallet than my phone, all right? Because I don't carry cash, so don't ask me for cash. I'm very bad at that. So I'd definitely rather lose my wallet than my phone.
I can ask you, family first or friends?
Yeah, it's always family first. But I have to say family/friends, like most people watching or yourself, your true friends, we have a lot of acquaintances out there. True friends are a very small group. And I have a very small family, actually, here in Fall River. Some have big families. You know, in Fall River itself, no, my husband and I, now his sister's in Somerset. His mom just passed away. My parents are gone. My sister's in Canada. My brother's in Mattapoisett. So it's us here. So our friends who we have had for 25, 30 years are still are considered family to us, but always family first. Ken and the girls are always first.
Pizza or subs?
Pizza. I have not met a pizza, as long as it doesn't have olives or mushrooms on it, that I don't like. That's a favorite food of mine.
And drinks, any favorite drink?
I'm a water drinker, number one, but I love a glass of red wine. You know, I really do. A different kind, a nice Portuguese red wine. Doesn't have to be really expensive. You know, that's probably my go-to if I'm going to be out and have a cocktail.
One thing you will sell from or take off from your office. One thing you don't like on your office.
What I don't like?
Yes.
About,
You will give up on your office. Do you have anything on your office that?
oh, something in my office that I would give up? My office in Boston, let me think. I've got a couch, a couple of chairs. What do you have? I have an extra table I could get rid of. You want it? I can't. It belongs to the State House. It belongs to the state. Yeah, yeah.
You right or left?
Left.
Left?
I've been a lefty.
I didn't know that.
I've been a lefty. I have that little, those of us that are left-handers, we have this little thing from dragging our pinky across the page. No one ever tried to stop me from being a left-hander, which a lot of people, I think, a little older than me, the nuns and others would stop. But I've always been a left-hander, and one of my daughters, my oldest daughter, is a lefty.
Cereal flavor? Cereal that you like?
All right, so now I like the Quaker Oat Squares.
Oh.
Growing up, Captain Crunch. Captain Crunch. Now, if you look at the sugar in Captain Crunch,
yeah, I know.
It's unbelievable. Captain with the berries, you know, the little red berries.
Yeah.
And it would stick in your teeth. Oh my gosh, I love that cereal. I haven't had that in 25 years.
Ice cream flavor.
Ice cream flavor is, I have to say, Somerset Creamery, black raspberry chip yogurt, frozen yogurt. The best. Delicious. Matter of fact, they're closing soon. I probably should go get some from my freezer.
Yeah, I think they should be about closing. Well, I had plenty of questions for Carole, but the time is running out, and I hope that people learn a little bit more about you. It's stuff that you actually don't talk about when you're out there and helping people on the district, but probably now people will know a little bit more about the Carole Fiola, and I have to thank you for accepting the invitation to be here, and you have about a minute if you want to. Matter of fact, my last question. You will recommend somebody to come and sit on the hot seat?
Invite my husband, Ken.
I will.
He'd probably love to be on. And,
I will.
Carlos, I want to thank you. This is fun.
Yes.
You know, and I think it's a good idea that you bring people on to talk about another side of them, because you find that people only know you in a certain role, and they forget that, you know, I grew up here. I went to Durfee. I hung around Fall River all my life, you know, except going away to college. So my family was raised here. You know, I'm part of the fabric of this community, like your viewers are, and like you are. But we all take different paths. Now, no path is better than another. We all pick a path that works for us. You know, from the days that I worked like you from very young. I was scooping ice cream. Vic St. Dennis, remember him? Scooped ice cream. He had an ice cream shop over on the corner of Boston Road and Robeson Street. To working at CVS. It was a fun job. I used to love that job. To work study in college, to, you know, working in Providence in advertising, working in the industrial park. I've always been here, and I love this community. And
Carole, thank you again for being in here.
Thank you,
And
Carlos.
I promise to come back with the new guests next week.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos.
Thank you.